you'd think this place would be wheelchair accessible. It wasn't a surprise I was coming, but thank you very much. I've got up as high in my chair as I could so everybody could see me. So as Tanya said, my name's Jim Ryan, and I'm a full quadriplegic. Now, a quadriplegic is someone who's lost some or all of the use of all four of their limbs. You'll see a lot of quads around town, and you'll think they're paraplegics because they've regained use of their arms and they can push themselves in their wheelchair and do lots of other actions, and you'd think they're only paras, but in fact they're quads. Sadly, I'm a full quad, and I've lost all useful movement in both my arms and legs. So you might be able to see I can wiggle my legs a bit, my fingers a little bit, but really nothing useful. I drive my chair with my head. I have a bunch of controls up here, and I can move my shoulders and my neck. And that's where I'm left. So as Tanya said, we met about 10 years ago. She's actually our neighbor, and when new neighbors move in, I would leash up the dog and take whatever kids were at home, and we have 4 kids, so we'd be quite a troop and walk over and say hello. So when I got to the house, I met the husband, which is Keith right here. I met the father-in-law, August, but the wife wasn't around, and I figured out later she was probably out doing an exercise routine. No, I'm just kidding. Anyways, at the time I was doing quite a bit of running, and I was trying to get a bit more fit, and I saw all the articles in the Progress by Tanya Shaw, who was a new rec person in town. I lost the name. There you go. So I called her up, actually I emailed her and said I'd be interested in doing some lessons, and she said, well, I'm in England right now, and I'm thinking, boy, she's making a lot of money. But as it was, they were visiting family, and she came home, and then we met. And we met at the Starbucks Promontory by the shoppers there. And we got talking about goals, etc. And I said, do you live on Promontory? She says, no, I live on Canterbury. And it works out, she was about 4 doors from our house. So it was quite good. So back at the day, she was working out of the Pump House Fitness, one-on-one. And she also did some boot camps at, I think it was Creative Outlet, which was a small dance studio, which was beside the bottle recycling in Sardis. So you'd get there at 6 in the morning, and all you could smell was empty beer bottles. But we became very good friends, and as she said, with my schedule at WestJet, getting to her classes was quite difficult, but she was always willing to work around my schedule. And then she started running with me. Well, I'm just a slow plodder, and she would run and talk the whole time. And I was trying to keep my breath. And then Keith would join us, and the two of them would talk the whole time. And they go, no, we can go further. It was just crazy. Anyways, it was a great time. And I have been a member of Ascend for almost 10 years. And the last part, I would do the boot camps. I mostly do the 9:30 in the morning because I hated getting up early. And at 5:30, my wife Isabel would be home, and we'd rather spend the evening together. So I'd go at 9:30, and it would be me and all the mums. And as the only guy, it was a great time. I did aerobics in the 80s for the same reason.
I want to know if you wore a thong.
No, I didn't wear the thong. Anyways, it was a great time, and Spencer and Kayla, we had great instructors. It was a lot of fun. So our lives changed for Isabel and I on March 30th of last year. So it's almost been a year. We were in Maui and we had been in the water. And the waves were fairly big that day, but not overwhelming. And we're just near the beach, and you walk backwards when you come out of the ocean, keeping your eyes on the waves. And the last wave came, and I said to Isabel, let's just dive through this wave and we'll get out. So we dove, and I got twisted around, and I was trying to roll into a ball to protect myself, but I was too late, and the wave drove my head into the sand and whipped me around. Well, after the wave left, I was fully conscious, and I thought, boy, I'm gonna have a headache tonight. And I'm floating just below the surface, and I said, I'll just swim to the surface and we'll go to the shore. So I tried to swim, and nothing moved. So I've been instantly paralyzed, and I know now what the problem was, and I won't talk about it. But I'm right below the surface, and I'm trying to move my arms, and I'm thinking, boy, this isn't very good, and trying to figure a way out. Well, I'm not James Bond, and I can't fight the bad guys and hold my breath. So I'm under the water, and now the air starts to come out of my lungs. And I can feel the water going in. And at this point, I'm thinking, this is what it's like to drown. And all I could think of is, well, it beats burning. It's weird what you think about when things are happening. Strangely, I never panicked, and Isabel says it's because of my training as a pilot. As you can imagine, in an airplane, when things start going bad, you can't pull over and start working on them. You have to keep going. So, under the water, trying to move, slowly drowning, still trying to find a way out of it, and nothing was working. And again, strangely enough, I didn't think I was ever going to die, as I was dying. And the last thing I remember is Isabel pulled my head out of the water, screamed help, and I died. I had drowned. Well, notwithstanding what the current president says in the U.S., America and Americans are great. And as soon as Isabel screamed, everybody on the beach jumped into action. People helped pull me out of the water, started CPR, people were dialing 911, people went and got the lifeguards who came running, all 5 of them, with all their gear, and they did CPR on the beach. They say only 4% of people who get CPR, who aren't in a hospital, survive. So the odds weren't good. I started coming back, and they said to Isabel, say something, he's waking up. And being the romantic that she is, she said, the story isn't over. You owe me 30 more years in our marriage contract. And the lifeguards looked at her and said, really?
That's all you have to say.
But it worked. I came back. And I don't remember any of this, but my heart started up and I tried to breathe. And I couldn't breathe, and they had to bag me on the beach. You've seen it, where they pump air into your lungs. They had to drag me over cliffs, into the ambulance, an hour ride on the ambulance. I don't remember any of this. And they got me to the hospital, and apparently it was touch and go. And again, I never received the memo, so I didn't know I was supposed to be close to death. So I woke up the next day, or whatever, and thought, well, we have a bit of a problem, let's start working it out. I had to spend the next 4.5 months learning to breathe. My accident is at the C4 level, cervical spine number 4. So there's 30 vertebrae in your spine, and I was at the number 4, so I was supposed to spend the rest of my life in a bed on a vent with a tube into my stomach to feed me. And again, I missed that conversation, so I never thought that was going to happen. I got very fortunate in the hospital. People say there's problems with healthcare, but it certainly isn't the people. I was treated extremely well by everybody I met. They treated me like a personal member of their families and kept care of me incessantly. I had so many people go to bat for me to help me carry on that that's how I got here today. I had a pacemaker put in for my diaphragm to teach me how to breathe, and that's what saved my life. When I first started, just some statistics, just so you know, the average male has about 4 liters volume for their lungs, the size of a milk jug. I was down to the size of a bottle of Coke that you buy at 7-Eleven, about 600 mils, so I could hardly breathe. They put in a pacemaker and I went up to 2 liters volume, so half of a normal male. But since I don't move, that's enough for me to live and give me a chance. Sorry, I have all my notes here. I have one page of about 20 words I can't flip through. So after learning to breathe, they sent me to rehab for 5 months and trying to improve my situation. And again, the people who were there were incredible. I actually stood up on my own. I don't have any balance, so they had to keep me from falling left and right, but my legs are strong enough to hold me up. I have no feeling, but I can actually stand on my own, which is really pretty weird. And after 10 months, I returned home last month, and it's been a trial, but here we are, and we're trying to move forward. So people ask, how do we keep going? That's a great question. I think it's a bit of our nature. When I woke up in the hospital in Maui, all I could think of is we have a problem and now we have to solve it. Again, like aviation, you can't stop. You have to keep moving forward. WestJet, who I work for, was incredible. They had my son out there within 48 hours to give us a hand. And in 24 hours after that, we figured out a communication system where I would blink my eyes and spell words. And suddenly we were talking again, and that really helped. It's always been my nature to keep moving forward regardless of what happens. I get it a bit from my mother, I think, who always said in the morning, no matter what happens, you get up and put one foot in front of the other and get through the day. And those are the bad days. The good days you'll jump out of bed and really enjoy, but you can never quit. And I think that's where I get it from. Although I don't put one foot in front of the other, I have to roll around now. I've also tried to return to society, and I've worked really hard at this. I want to be a contributor. It's strange when people always help me, and I can't help them. So I've really reached out. I'm now an ambassador for the Rick Hansen Foundation. And Rick, who I've met quite a few times, an incredible person, for the 150th anniversary of Canada, has financing, which he calls busting barriers. I did a talk on Thursday at the Rotary Club where I discussed this, and it's quite interesting. As I roll around, you see what's out there. And I'm going to say this again. Chilliwack is a great city for people like me. It's really quite simple for me to get around, and people are so generous, and I'll talk to that in a moment. I think think what's really helped me is the people around me. I've had so many people step forward and help. And I want to mention two families who have really become part of our lives. And that's the Lynn Tots and the Charlans, who are our neighbors and our friends. And they have taken us in like we're treasured members of their families and really reached out to us and helped in ways you couldn't imagine. And they're just a couple of families who have really made a difference in our lives. We can't believe how much help we've had. My son in Maui, Isabel, was getting so many phone calls about what's happening. She didn't want to tell the story anymore. So Daniel, our son, put together a Facebook page for our family so Isabel could just do an update every day and everybody could keep in touch. We thought there'd be 20 or 30 people watching this. There's over 2,600 people around the world watching our Facebook page, which we find incredible. People we've never met. And we're really happy that we hopefully make a difference in their lives and they share the story of our lives. And we don't use Facebook as brag book. A lot of the bad stuff gets on there as well as we live our struggles. And we've had a few. Like the day my chair shut off in the middle of the road trying to cross downtown Vancouver. It is not a good feeling. My family has really stepped forward. And not just my immediate family, we have 4 children who've been incredible, but our brothers and sisters and their spouses have really come to the forefront and helped us. Again, it's amazing to say this accident has brought us a lot closer together. I guess it's sort of a benefit. And the person that keeps me going most through my life is my wife, Isabel. Everyone asks me how I'm doing. All I do is sit in my chair all day. I don't even move. And Isabel has to keep care of both of us. And she's been just incredible. Without her, I don't know where I'd be. So as much as people are interested in me, it's really a team of both of us that keeps it all moving. I want to make one more point, but before that, I want to thank Tanya for 10 years of exercise and asking me for the opportunity to talk. When she did, I said, how many of people are speaking, 3 or 4? She goes, oh no, just you. So hopefully I don't let her down. My last point is living in a wheelchair. It's been a bit of an eye-opener, and I'm going to give you one story and a couple of quick points. It was Christmas time last December. We were at the Richmond Mall, which is close to the rehab center, raining pretty hard. So Isabel went out to get the van to drive us back. I'm sitting by the door, watching for her, and looking for someone to open the doors. The only people around at the time were these 4 young guys, early 20s, cool haircuts, leather jackets, tattoos, all looking tough. And I'm thinking, that's all I've got. So Isabel pulls up, and I go, hey guys, can you give me a hand? I'm trying to get it through the doors and down the ramp. It was incredible. Sir, what can we do to help you? Let us open the doors. Can you get down the ramp? I don't want you to get too wet. They couldn't do enough for me. These 4 young guys trying to be tough jumped up and helped without a moment's hesitation. And I'm going to say 98, 99% of the people do that, and the other people are on their cell phones. And I'm not kidding. People walk into me. It's the funniest stuff. My other point is treating people like me. I don't think I'm handicapped, I don't think I'm disabled, I think I'm different. There's a lot of people around who use crutches, canes, walkers, people who use hearing aids, or should use hearing aids, and you know who you are. People who wear glasses, right? I wear glasses, a lot of us do. When you go to the mall, you see all the handicap spots and they're all full. I don't know if those people consider themselves handicapped. I don't consider myself handicapped. I'm just different. Before my injury, when I saw someone in a wheelchair, I'd look away because I didn't want to be accused of staring. Now that I'm that person in a wheelchair, it's a bit different. Before I was injured, we walked around and I'd say, people walk by, hi, how are you doing? Good evening, how are you? And Isabel would say, do you know them? No, I'm just being polite. Now I'm in my wheelchair, I say, hello, how are you doing? People look away. They're not sure what to say. So please, don't look away. We're all normal like you, we just are a little bit different. Our issues are a little bit more visible than what you guys have. But we're all the same. Say hello, come up. If you see me, please stop by. Ask me about my injury, my life, my wheelchair. It's a pretty scoop of a wheelchair. It does all kinds of cool stuff. I can run my iPhone and everything. So please treat us as you treat each other. That's all I ask. I really thank you for your time. Thank you, Tanya, for a great evening and allowing me to speak.